Hello there, paper review time. Now for the second week in a row, the paper's been filled with Old Lady and Snow. This time though, nothing to do with the High Court, but rather the Champions League and those dramatic events in Istanbul, where of course Juve took to the field on Tuesday evening for a mustn't-lose clash with Galatasaray, only to leave it 18 hours later on Wednesday afternoon, having done just that. Now the first part of the game, as you probably saw, came to a halt after half an hour due to heavy snow, leaving the papers to amuse themselves as best they could. Photomac from Turkey went with a penguin on the front page. It's a penguin story, they said, while Italy's Gazzetta dello Sport pointed out that this fixture has already been postponed twice in previous years too, over security concerns, and also that this isn't the most surprising postponement ever. No, that honour, the paper suggests, belongs to a Fiorentina Pistoiese derby from the 1950s, which was stopped not for snow, nor rain, nor wind, but for UFOs. Yes, at 14:20 on the afternoon of the 24th of October 1954, in the skies over Florence in the Artemio Franchi Stadium appeared at least 20 unidentified objects. Public and players were so dumbfounded, the referee had no choice but to stop the encounter. Since it was 0-0 at the time, sounds like it was a close one. Well, anyway, back to this year, and Wednesday, the remaining 61 minutes were played out between Galatasaray and Juve, with the Turks sparking delirium by winning 1-0, going through at Juve's expense. Now, Snow Lions, cries the wildlife-loving Turkish press, while fanatic say it's another chapter in Turkey's proud history. The forgotten Drogba knocks the ball to the forgotten Schneider, and the Italian superiority is forgotten. Never before have Galatasaray, the great history writers of Turkish football, says the paper, staged anything this memorable. The Italians rather less chuffed, especially about what they saw as a deliberate dirty tricks campaign by their hosts, says the Gazzetta. Juve, mud, trickery and bitterness. This is not football, declares the paper, accusing their hosts of deliberately ruining the midfield that Juve were attacking into. At half-time, says the paper, they sent a tractor on to plough up that part of the field. So the final 45 minutes had a pristine turf, here we can see it rather nicely, in front of Juve's goal, and an impassable bog in front of the home teams. And, says the Gazzetta, it happened to Cluj when they visited last year too. Crikey. Well, Tuttosport from Turin on a similar theme. Juve eliminated also thanks to Platini's UEFA. Merci, Michel. If Mourinho were here, he'd say, Perché? Perché, perché, perché? Why was the game played on this impossible surface? Why was only that part of the pitch driven over by farmyard equipment, creating deep ruts and turning the grass to mud? Was it just coincidence? Still, they and the other Italian papers have to admit that for all of this, Juve don't have no excuses. As La Repubblica points out, Juve had the chance to tie this up on a proper pitch when they faced Galatasaray in Turin, and they didn't. So Juve a little bit like a junkie this week. They used to have a reputation for needing fixes, and now they can't deal with cold turkey. And with Napoli also out, although the headline here is, "Thanks Napoli, you've beaten the best team in the Premier League," it does all add up to Italy's worst Champions League performance at the end of the group stage ever, with just one team in the last 16 compared to 4 each from Germany and England and 3 from Spain. That one Italian side, incredibly, being Milan, who despite being Serie A's weakest team in the tournament, despite going down to 10 men against Ajax, despite conceding over 70% of possession to the Dutch side, still scraped through, getting out of jail once again like, well, their owner. So the Rossoneri fly the flag in the knockout stages. Juve and Napoli meanwhile go into the Europa League, which could be interesting since the final this year is in the Juventus Arena. So that's something for them. Now to conclude this week with a quick mention for the other big Champions League story of the past few days, and that's Manchester City's stunning win at Bayern Munich. A disaster this for the Germans? Well, not so much apparently. Bild, in fact, even calling it the good defeat, suggesting Bayern are even a little bit grateful to their Mancunian visitors. Quoth Pep Guardiola, maybe the club, the team and the coach needed a defeat so we can remember how difficult it is to win these matches. And Mario Götze adding, now we have learned what it is like to lose. This helps us for the future. Oh dear, if you strike them down, they'll only return more powerful than you can possibly, etc. Bavarian paper Süddeutsche too, saying, let's be frank, it's only their third defeat in a year, including Arsenal's pointless win here last season. Perhaps for those Bayern supporters who've already booked flights to the final in Lisbon, this was a little warning. The Bavarians, even under Pep Guardiola, are only human. As for City, they and Bild say it's very curious that they didn't know that another goal would have been enough for them to win the group. Says Bild, hopefully they'll read the rules before the knockout stages. Well, it would be nice. Anyway, more papers to come as the Champions League progresses. Hopefully you'll be joining us next time out here on our paper review.